all is well with everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're going to get started in just a second. Let me send out my shares and get that rolling. I hope you're having an amazing Tuesday. I did not see you guys yesterday, so I hope all is well. I hope y'all are having a grand start to your week, a grand day. I hope that you are safe, you are fed, and if you are not fed, you get fed soon. As I get my lip gloss on too. All right, let me send out the shares. And I hope that you are having a safe start to your week, whether you travel for work or you stay home. Today, we're going to be talking about inflammation or insulin resistance, inflammation, and the structure that changes everything when it comes to you having the issues of insulin resistance and inflammation and getting to the space of having balanced insulin and a body that feels like it has energy again and having anti-inflammatory habits that keep you away from inflammatory state, that just overall improve your health, overall improve your experience in life. And so if you are in a space where not only are you ready for a change, but you were looking for this shift, you maybe been diagnosed with insulin resistance in the recent past months, or your doctor is telling you that we're going to watch and we're going to wait to see if you have insulin resistance or diabetes. I want you to know that this is a space where not only do you have a space of clarity, and this is a space where we're going to gain that clarity, but you also have a space that is going to take that heaviness away from it all. It's not going to just be a bunch of knowledge and information stored and thrown at you and something that you have to have more knowledge on, but rather it's something that you can actually apply to your life by having those habit changing patterns, by understanding those patterns that you currently have and releasing those patterns through the action habits that we are going to learn how to develop, what we're going to understand, how we're going to target each aspect of what we have going on. Because many people are feeling the sense, or they're feeling the urgency to change, to shift, that their body is speaking to them, right? And a lot of people are in the space of being tired and pretending that this is normal, or feeling like this is normal because this is what you've dealt with all your life. Your parents dealt with this, grandparents, and etc. Everybody's tired. The fatigue, the heaviness after the meals, the brain fog. And even though you maybe have a good mind, a healthy mind now, it's still stealing your sharpness, and you can't figure out why you can't remember certain things, why you're having brain fog on certain things. The inflammation that makes your own body feel unfamiliar and feels like it's turning against you. Thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. This is where insulin resistance is thriving in. This is a space where your body is telling you that we don't have balance and we need to figure out why. It's not quite yet diabetes, but we're walking down the path towards diabetes. This is the path that many women that I speak to that come to my community are dealing with. They're dealing with the fact that their weight has packed it on and they can't figure out why, whether they've been small all their life or that over the years that they've just gained more and more, and it seems like it's harder and harder for them to get rid of without a diet. Even diets don't even work for them. It is that threat of having to be on medication that scares the women that come work with me. That thought, that the fact that you would have to be on medication for the rest of your life, scared me into realizing that that's not the life that I want to live. Thinking about having to have a surgery in my early 20s, that's not a life that I want to live. I don't want to have a surgery early on in life, because I stand by this rule. Once they cut you open once, they're going to have to keep cutting you open for the rest of your life. That is something that is more than just a thought of like, maybe it could happen, maybe it couldn't. The science is there. The evidence is there, because every person that you look into that has had a surgery, that has gone into this or gone under anesthesia and done this, they always have something else that happens later on and transpires later on. And it's not a coincidence that it seems like it's more prevalent after the first time, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 3 years, maybe in 10 years. They're going to have to go in and do something else. They're going to have to cut you open again and do something else. And now you're feeling more comfortable in a space where you should not feel comfortable, because you should not feel comfortable with somebody putting you under anesthesia, having to have a surgery, having to be on a medication for the rest of your life. That's a scary place. Even just thinking about it is not as deep, but just thinking about having to take insulin for the rest of your life, or being in insulin resistance for years on end, that's scary. So you have to sit back and realize this is not the story or the path that I want to be down. So this is the end of my story. This is the main plot of my story, is getting some type of diabetes or insulin resistance in general. But understanding that we have to root ourselves in not just diet culture and what they tell us is normal, but understanding being rooted in wisdom, not just a bunch of knowledge. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. Not just in knowledge that we can gain from here and here and here, but understanding how impactful and important it is to learn what these symptoms mean and to get to the roots. Not symptom management, but restoration. Understanding how restoration impacts the body. Learning how and what your body needs, and understanding what clear signs is giving you and hearing them clearly so that you can fix them in an efficient amount of time. Because insulin resistance is not just about a diagnosis. It's not about you getting a diagnosis and then you sitting back going, well, I'm leading down my path of having to take insulin. It's only a matter of time. But knowing that that is a sign from your body that it's under metabolic stress. These are metabolic distress signals that are being sent out throughout the body. So your body is not broken. It's giving you the correct response to these things. It's just overwhelmed. And so then now your body is giving distress signals all throughout because it needs your help to fix it. A lot of women nowadays are overstimulated, undersupported, super inflamed. Blood sugar is going up through the roof. Insulin is working overtime to try to compensate everything that you eat and to figure out what is going on. And then on top of that, your cells, your internal body, the way that you operate day to day with how your body's supposed to have energy and release this energy and use the energy from your food, it is exhausted from all of the stress signals and high cortisol that is being pumped throughout the body because of the habits that you have towards food, towards products. And it doesn't just get solved by being more disciplined and having more willpower, but understanding it's solved through a structure. Having a structure that is tailored to what your body is needing. Having a structure to listen to what your body is telling you. Not having some type of intense diet or intense workout. Not having an intense restriction and being in a calorie deficit. But understanding that it's more than just having another extreme plan that spikes your cortisol, and then calling it discipline and saying this is the motivation that I needed to get right for the year, right? Thank you for the follows. Understanding that that extreme plan has never worked for you. Diet culture is never sustainable. So structure changes how your habit patterns flow, subconsciously and consciously. Daily rhythms that can help your metabolism trust you. Having meals that stabilize your blood sugar, stabilize your insulin before you spike both. Thank you guys for the likes and the follows. I really do appreciate it. If you're seeing value in this content, please tap your screen up. Patterns that soothe your inflammation instead of fueling inflammation throughout your body. Stop giving disease and illness a space to replicate itself and a space to feel comfortable. I think in like 2020, 2021, everybody was jumping on the realm of like parasites and parasite cleanses and gut cleanses and all the different things that they're promoting on TikTok for people to use and to buy and do, right? And so all these people are like, yeah, we need this parasite cleanse is the best one, and you need this gut cleanse. This is going to help you. But it wasn't sustainable. And the reason why is because one, you did not give your body safety. And two, all this is doing is the same thing as diet culture, which is momentarily you're going to take care of your body. Momentarily you're going to take this gut cleanse or this parasite cleanse, right? But you're never going to change the inflammatory habits that led you here. You're never changing what caused the parasites to thrive in your space in the first place. So you have to have patterns that soothe inflammation instead of fueling it. Support that rebuilds you, rebuilds your safety, rebuilds your trust, rebuilds your habit patterns without punishing yourself. Not punishing yourself for being hungry, not punishing yourself for having normal human functions, not punishing yourself for feeling tired today, but understanding that when you have that structure, it's going to support you during the days where you don't want to go work out. It's going to support you during the days that you don't want to cook. It's going to support you during the days where everything seems like all of it is just falling to crap. But when you have no structure and you're following diet culture and they're telling you that you have to eat in this calorie deficit and starve, you're more likely to go and sleep for food, because you are in a space where you believe that as long as I'm not eating, I'm taking care of my body. But you're not realizing how much that does a disservice to you when you are missing your hunger cues, not having enough nutrients in your food, and then you call this fasting. That is just as bad as you eating junk all day. Yes, you might lose a couple pounds. Yes, you might feel good and light tomorrow, but you're going to be starving. As soon as you eat, your body's going to hold on to everything. And then on top of that, you have a whole bunch of information about fasting and how in 12 hours it does this and in 24 hours it does this. But you don't realize when you don't prepare yourself correctly before a fast, that all of that kind of goes out the window. Because during that 12-hour period or that 24-hour period that you're not eating, the body is sitting there panicking and it's just waiting for the next piece of food to actually be able to use, whether it's nourishment or not. And by use usually means when you are not getting the nutrients that you need, because a lot of people eat a bunch of food full of additives and fillers, just junk, it's going to store it inside of your fat cells. So this is the reason why you can do a hardcore diet for a year or 6 months or however long, right? And then it seems like as soon as you go back, you're starting to gain all that weight back. In 3 months, you look the same. Or in 5 months, now you've gained more. And you're sitting here trying to figure out how you've gotten here. But it's because you don't understand your body's own design. You weren't taught your body's design and how to break down what's happening in the body. Because not only do we not get enough time to assess our own health and assess and sit down and have a moment with ourselves to check in on ourselves, more than just people asking us how we're doing all day. But they also don't teach you your natural design as a woman, specifically how your cycle syncing impacts you or how not cycle syncing impacts you, because that is an important key factor. Because a lot of women are sitting here working out, they're calorie counting and restricting in a time that you should not be doing that. And you do realize that's raising your cortisol and making your insulin resistance worse. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. I really appreciate it. So this is why we have to embody information, not just have knowledge that we can spit out and recite and regurgitate to anybody that's asking us about diabetes or has any questions about blood sugar regulation, but embodying information so that we know what insulin resistance is and how it's not the same as living in a body that feels safe, and understanding that it's more than just teaching a concept, but implementing it implementing how to have tactical habits that don't lead you to insulin resistance every single time that you eat by spiking your sugar. Using the glucose inside of your body instead of recycling it throughout your cells, which is dangerous. Because that's where a lot of people are. Glucose is not being released, but instead it's being recycled because you have not unlocked the cells with your insulin. Because your insulin that you have in your body that is being absorbed and supposed to be used from the foods that you eat, instead your body is going, this is too much and this is not the kind of insulin, nor is this the kind of space that your insulin is supposed to feel safe in. This is not the amount of insulin that I need, so I have to keep pumping out more. This is your pancreas talking. And so then as it's trying to compensate and it's trying to fix all the insulin resistance that you have going on, it's not unlocking the cells. The cells are saying, I have too much, no thank you, I'm full. The next cell, I have too much, no thank you, I'm full. And so then guess what? Since it's staying locked, the glucose is stuck inside the cells. The cells are not dying off the way that they should be because a lot of people don't get enough oxygen or hydration on a cellular level. And so then what happens in return? Now you're sitting here with a body full of cells that should have been died off a long time ago, full of glucose that should have been used, should have been released, should have been used as energy a while ago. And so then now you're stuck in a place where you have no metabolic repair. And so that's why I don't teach concepts. I teach implementation, excuse me. I couldn't get the word out. We have to implement the lifestyle through small little habit changes, through those little patterns, integration through those little patterns. This is how you start metabolic repair, through living through structure, through having that structure. Everything that I guide the women that work in my program with, it comes from two places. Not only the space that I have lived for over 5 years now, it's been about 5.5. I want to say, I haven't done the math, but I'm right on the half brink, I think, because now we're in March, which is like a crazy concept because I feel like it was just January. Oh my goodness. And also the proof that I have dealt with clients, and given, not dealt with, but given to clients and women that I have walked beside through the path of helping them be able to get away from the space of thinking that another diet is the answer. Women who have been told that they're pre-diabetic, borderline diabetic, could have chronic inflammation, or they're being told to just manage it with the insulin, manage it with the prescription, manage it with this. Women who feel exhausted, who feel bloated, who are wired, and yet somehow still drained, because a lot of people, I was once one of those people who feel tired before you go to bed, right? You lay down, you're like, oh, I'm about to sleep, it's time for me to go to bed. And as soon as you hit the bed, or you lay down to rest, or you sit down, now you can't. You're drained, but you're wired. Now you can't lay down and go to sleep. Now you can't take a nap. Now you can't do these things because your body is drained, but it's wired. You know what that happens from? Insulin resistance. When you have entirely too much sugar and you're not using or converting that insulin into you having energy. So you have to have that foundation, but you have to rebuild on a healthy foundation, not the rocky one full of cracks that a lot of people are building from diet culture, but understanding having a healthy foundation. Blood sugar regulation first, because stable glucose is you having metabolic safety, you giving your body that safety, that comfort, that peace. Insulin stabilization is next. When you have that insulin stabilization, because balanced insulin unlocks your cells and it helps your cells be able to heal. It helps your cells to be able to renew, repair. It helps them be able to get new cells in. And then from this process, the inflammation is going to reduce itself. You're going to have anti-inflammatory habits. You're going to use food as your medicine. And this is going to help you be able to get the nourishment that you need throughout the day. This is going to help you have nervous system regulation. And it's also going to help you have sustainable habit patterns with the times that you eat, with the time, or rather the times that you have cravings to eat. Because a lot of people have hunger cues, and it's not just because your body is actually hungry, but you eat every single day at 10 o'clock and you drink coffee every day at 9. But having those sustainable habits that teach you that, okay, I'm not going to eat sugar right before I go to bed, because guess what? That craving is what I've trained my body to do. It's not because I need sugar before I go to bed. Not having chaos just run your world, run your life. No extreme dieting that makes you feel uncomfortable and starve. No burnout cycles, because that's what dieting does. You keep going and you keep going until it burns you out, and you burn out from that diet, and then you quit it, right? And then you're like, all right, I'm done with that diet. I lost 10 pounds in 20 days or 10 days or whatever else. But you get burnt out during that time because you're tired of eating salads. You're tired of eating healthy. You need structure that restores trust between you and your body, that tells you, I'm listening. I can know what the symptoms mean. I hear you. And so then when you do go back to the doctor, you get your blood work done. You get all your tests run and everything else, and you do your checkups. The doctor is not telling you you were insulin resistant, but now they're telling you, instead of insulin resistance, we are on the path of having a body that feels safe within itself again and regulated. Insulin resistance isn't just about sugar. It's not about just intaking sugar and eating junk. It's about a rhythm. When you eat, what you combine foods with, how stress alters your glucose response, how inflammation blocks your insulin signaling, how cortisol is going to keep the body in survival mode. It is literally all connected together. It's not a separate thing. Your body's functions and key components all function together. It's not just you have a pancreas and a liver and a kidney, but the pancreas affects this, the liver affects this, and they all connect together, and how it affects your blood and how it's regulated and how it's clean. So you have to stop spiking your cortisol to keep you out of survival mode. You have to know how to keep your cortisol calm, to keep it balanced, to not put yourself in survival mode. So when the rhythm changes of how you operate when it comes to the symptoms of your body, your subconscious mind is going to tell you, it's going to reiterate, you know what? Yes, we're changing, but this is a good change, because change feels weird and our body is going to fight change. We are creatures of habit. It's just a natural thing. When you're in my program, I teach you how to get away from that fight, how to support yourself during that time where it feels foreign, it feels uncomfortable, so that your biology responds appropriately, so that your biology feels safe and it doesn't spike your cortisol like a diet does, and then sit here and you're feeling uncomfortable and you have no return. You have no return besides you lost a little bit of weight that's going to come back. I've watched women reverse symptom patterns that were actually permanent, understanding how to restore your energy, helping your inflammation soften, helping you lose those pounds if you're looking to lose those pounds or gain them. Because I have worked with women who are in the space where they want to eat better, they want to live a healthier life, but they don't want to necessarily lose weight. And I tell them, you don't have to lose weight to take care of your body, because in a natural body that is taken care of correctly, it's going to do what it's supposed to do, which is keep you alive and keep you healthy. So if you're giving it what it needs, guess what's going to happen in return? You're going to be able to hold a stable, healthy weight. You're going to be able to feel good in that body. And you're not going to have to sit here and starve yourself to lose pounds or starve yourself to fast your way into being healthy. Not just because you're trying, but understanding that you stop fighting your body so that you have a clearer mind, so that you have that peace within change. But how you get that peace with the change is simplifying your process with a structure, not making it easier on yourself by doing a diet and starving yourself, but simplifying the process of change. Start supporting your body with more structure. Don't just hand over information. I don't just hand over information. Let me rephrase that. I don't just hand over information and be like, all right, wish you luck. Hope you have fun. We walk with embodiment, step-by-step guidance, helping you with meals, helping you understand what these patterns are, knowing how to recognize the patterns, and pattern by pattern, we're slowly changing our habits to create healing. It becomes something that is a second subconscious thought, because now your body is just naturally just moving throughout how it's supposed to in life. Because a lot of us have never recognized and understood how the body naturally is supposed to operate. When somebody brings up how these things are not normal, but they're common, that seems foreign. You're like, how are these things not normal? Everybody in my family, all the women have developed some type of diabetes or cancer or something, etc. And along the way, that's normal. That's not normal. It's common. But your body's normal, natural rhythm is not in the chaos. It has, and it needs a path of metabolic restoration. It needs hormonal harmony. So that means it needs you to cycle sync. It needs you to support it with each cycle phase. It needs you to reduce your inflammation and then stabilize your insulin. It needs you to use food as your medicine. And it needs you to have that structure that gives it safety. You don't have to do this and walk alone to receive this. So if you were looking for a space that gives you not only a proven framework, support, and guidance that helps you be able to reverse what you have going on from the inside out, my program is linked in my bio. It's the Metabolic Reversal Method. It's going to help you be able to rebuild that foundation, stabilize your system, give you that safety within yourself, and change the trajectory of what path you are on when it comes to you being diagnosed or you have insulin resistance and you are struggling with fixing it so you don't have diabetes. Because it's about prevention and then reversal. So if you are in the space where you already have it or you've been diagnosed with it, reversal is possible. If you are in the space where you feel like you're down that path and you know something is off, something is wrong, let's start prevention before you go to the doctor and they're telling you, we might have to put you on insulin. Because your body is waiting for you to take leadership. Nobody else can force you to balance your body's sugar. Nobody can force you to eat the proper foods to take care of your body and not just be in starvation diet. Because that's what they're teaching people. If you see how the celebrities and everybody else is really looking sickly right now and it's looking like starvation culture, that's what they're teaching people to do. Get on your Ozempic. Take your different prescriptions for your GLP-1 and all the different things. And this is the way for you to be healthy. But all it's teaching you is how to starve yourself into taking care of you. How to look unhealthy, but at least you're thin, even though you're still struggling with diabetes. Don't be in the space of getting tricked by what they're promoting and what they're teaching you, because all they're trying to do is bring back skinny culture. And there is nothing wrong with anybody's body size if that is what your natural body size is. The problem is that they're teaching you and telling people again to get back in the space, like I talked about before in my last video, of having eating disorders. They're trying to make eating disorders more common and popular again, because we know what the early 2000s looked like with model culture. But now that model culture has kind of gone out the window, where you have to have certain figures and certain looks in order for you to be a model and be considered, now they're getting back to that same space. That's not only detrimental to the young generation that is coming up, we know what that looks like, but it's also detrimental for the people who still thrive on believing what society tells you is healthy, instead of actually having that discerning thought and taking the information, dissecting the information, not just gaining a bunch of knowledge about who this celebrity is dating and how much weight they've lost over this amount of time. Because it's easy for you to take a quick solution. It's easy to take a quick solution. It's easy for you to have a surgery, but it's not sustainable. And it's also easy for you to slip up, and then all of that work that you just did, all of that work, aka a surgery or prescription, to not even be anything that your body is recognizing as actual help and solutions. Versus making a change, having that foundation that your body says, you know what, you are helping me. So what I'm not going to do is make you feel more tired for trying to help me. What I'm not going to do is make you have more ailments for trying to help me. So if you have any questions for me, please drop your questions down. If you were looking for that program, it is linked in my bio. And if any of the links don't work, please feel free to DM me. But drop any questions that you have right now. And if you are over on YouTube watching this video later on, because I do post all of my past lives on YouTube, please do not forget to subscribe to me. Drop any questions that you have down below. I do respond to my questions in the comments. And if you're here on TikTok and you would like to catch any of the past lives that you have missed, go check those out. Like I said, I did mention a past live of us talking about multiple different things. So I do post those on YouTube. Any questions for me at all? I appreciate you guys for the follows and the likes. Any questions? My pupper is looking at me. I'm trying not to get her to come over here, because if I look at her again, I know she's gonna come over here. Any questions? I need to go drink my tea. My nose is itchy after yesterday's cold weather, because it was so warm. And then yesterday's cold weather, now my nose is kind of like a little nasally, a little itchy, a little nasally. And I was outside yesterday. I should have known better, but I had to go grocery shopping. Should have known better. Any questions for me at all? And if not, if you don't have any questions, I'm gonna hop on off. Gotta post this. I post on YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday for the people who do not know. So I am gonna have a scheduled video out tonight at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time is when they go up. And so check that out if you would like more content. If you would like to see last live, I think the last live is what's going to be up tonight. Yes, it's last live. I'm pulling it up now so I can see. It is the last live from last week. Or it might have been the first live from last week, but it was a live from last week. So if you missed out on that and you want to catch more, because like I say, every single time, or not every single time, but quite often, everything that I give you is able to be implemented for you to start making change. I give you plenty of free tips and free help for you to be able to start making change now. It's just a matter of you taking action. And if you are needing more accountability and support, and you're needing that one-on-one, that structure, that is when you get into my programs. That is when we work together, because I'm going to walk you step by step and make everything about the process simple. So that's why I say my metabolic reversal method is the space for you. If you have insulin resistance, if you are looking for a space, if you have sugar addiction and you were looking for a space, this is the perfect place for you to learn how to reverse what you have going on. And if you were looking for more of recipes and learning how to get that anti-inflammatory foods in your life. I do have an Eating Away Diabetes cookbook that you can go grab. That cookbook is also linked in my bio. It's going to help you be able to eat away diabetes, like literally what it says. It's going to break down A1C, inflammation, eating a rainbow plate, telling you what each color of the rainbow is meaning, and pinpointing it with different foods, giving you lists of different variety of foods, just so you can understand how the variety is when you eating more plant-based foods, learning how impactful it is to eat more plant-based foods, and how they support you fully, not just, oh, well, how am I going to get my proteins and my B12s? It's right there written out plain how you get those. It's just a matter of how you implement it in your life and eat food and use food as your medicine. So I'm not seeing any questions. I'm going to hop off. Like I said, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube. Thank you guys for the likes. I appreciate you. I hope that you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. I try to go live at least 3 times a week. So this is I think the first live of this week. So I will catch you guys again. Today's Tuesday. I will try to go live tomorrow so that way I don't have to have one Thursday and Friday. I'll try to have one. I'm going to try to knock them out back to back. So I'm going to try to be here again tomorrow and then on Thursday.